Hello, everyone. I'm happy to welcome you on the second webinar out of four that we are holding in June. I'm happy to see you again, so I can skip the part about introducing the project because you already know it, so we can directly move to the core. So to discuss the second scenario from our toolbox. Today, as you see, Kemi from Infinitivity Design Lab joined as well. So I will do the introduction, and then Kemi will take over, and then we'll have a time for discussion. So I hope you saw this slide already, because this was the advert for this meeting, so I'm moving directly to the point. As you remember, we defined five key challenges that should and could be addressed in school environment. And today we are focusing on the sustainable food. Why? From our research, from the review of the literature, and from what we know simply about the climate, we know that we cannot omit this topic because agriculture, or in general, or widely speaking, agriculture and forestry is responsible for around 1/5 of the whole CO2, not CO2, but all greenhouse gases emission combined. So even if we solve all the problems with the energy production, with the electrical vehicles and all of this, still 1/5 is remaining because we eat how we eat. So we need to address this. But the thing that I'm going to repeat a few times today, probably, is that it's complicated when we get into the details. So if you, it happens very often that students don't know in first place that there is greenhouse gas emission coming, like because of the food, because again, this is how we teach. We usually show them chimneys, we show them burning of fossil fuels. So we focus their attention on a very narrow part of the emissions, while here, yeah, there is no fire. There is just biological. There are just biological processes. The thing that needs to be addressed is like to understand what exactly is causing those emissions within this part of the share. Here you see that agriculture production is just a part of the emissions coming from agriculture. So just the fact that, for example, when we have animals, they breathe, so they emit CO2. Or if we have cattle stock, they as well emit methane. That's a part. But additionally, we need also to feed that livestock, or if we have crops, we need to use fertilizers, and we need to use energy, and we need to do all of this somewhere, which means we need land. So probably there is a deforestation if we want to have crops, and so on and so on. But on top of that, there is also part that is not directly connected to production of the food, but the fact that we want food in our houses. So someone needs to transport it, someone needs to pack it, someone needs to freeze it, and unfortunately, in the end, part of this food will be wasted. And if you sum all of this, including waste and the emissions in the supply chain, then the sector, the emissions coming that are related to food production account for 1/3 of the global greenhouse gas emission. So we see that's the justification that this topic is very serious. But now if you want to start discussion about it, you see that it immediately gets complicated, because now if you want simply to have a food that is not that does not demand that high emissions, then to lower the food emission, what you can do. And there is the first misconception that you should eat locally because the transportation causes a lot of emissions. But now you can address this misconception looking at this graph, that actually transportation, even through plane from the different continent, accounts for like negligible ratio in the total emission of the food. So the problem lies somewhere else, and you see that mainly land use and farm, when it comes to livestock, this is the source of the production. So it doesn't matter if you are like cruel industry, cage-like factory, or if you are super ecological farm. Still, if you produce life, if you deliver food because of the livestock, still per kilogram or calorie produced, the emissions are going to be high, very high, regardless of how exactly you're going to do it. But now, yeah, you see that now it's already a bit complicated for a high school student, and I haven't started even. Um, uh, and I'm not going to go into the details. We encourage you to go through our handbook, because then you will find interesting materials how to address those topics. But already you see that there are different parts within this problem, and uh, climate change is just one part. So, but it's not limited to the greenhouse gas emissions, because the land use brings different problems. Eutrophication, so overuse of fertilizers, or use of water, especially in regions where the water is scarce. This is another problem, and even if it's not directly connected to greenhouse gas emission, uh, we need to solve problems in more holistic way. So we cannot simply say, eat this, don't eat that, because now that food can be better when it comes to emission, but that one requires a lot of food, sorry, a lot of water. So you see, you need to balance a lot of factors. And what you also need to, and maybe you should in first place take into account, that this food needs to be healthy for us as well, and so be nutritious, but also when it comes to personal choices, yeah, in the end would be really lovely if this could be tasty as well. But on top of that, we have some constraints around us because, for example, of our culture, our nationality, religion, or ethics involved, which means that the discussion around our food choices is complicated because it's multi-layered, and we, generally speaking, there are like three layers. One about the science, so how it impacts the environment. The second, which is personal, so what we want to do and how we feel it, and how this food influences us. And thirdly, what about our collective choices or the pressure coming from our community, so how society shapes what we do. And now I'm going to stop the problem when I'm complicating things. Now the good part starts when I give finally solutions. In first place, we wanted to make it scientifically sound, but also usable. We dig into the so-called planetary health diet activism created by Eat Lancet Commission. The whole idea, if you're not familiar with planetary health diet, then briefly, eat Lancet is a commission of experts in different branches of medicine, including nutrition and diabetes, and a lot of experts. And their goal was exactly to do following thing: design a diet which is healthy, sustainable from the point of view of the planet, and affordable for 12 billion people that we are expecting around, let's say, 2050. So this is the like core science behind what we are going to show you in a moment. From their work, we have extensive tables with a lot of numbers, with detailed information regarding every project. So what exactly is the carbon footprint, water footprint, land use per, for example, kilogram of that particular product produced. So our goal was how to, or our question was how to take all of this data now in a simple form and show it to the students. So, by the way, I strongly encourage you to go to eatforum.org and read about the planetary health diet, or go to our handbook where you can find activities, how to implement this topic step by step. But getting to the summary, we wanted to find a way that will be playful, but very educational. But we knew we couldn't simply show the data. So we wanted to I'm purposefully avoiding one word. That's why I'm thinking. You'll see in a moment why. So we wanted, of course, to show some scientific content, but to show that our local choices are important. Our individual choices are important. So again, we cannot individually influence what fossil fuel companies are doing, but we do have impact on what's on our plate. So we wanted to show simply the consequences of our daily choices, and remind everyone that our choices influence also other people around, and now there is the way how we wanted to take all of this data and put it in a digestible form. We decided to design a board game about the sustainable food. And now, hopefully, if you're fans of board games, you can see now everything that I said now makes sense, because that's the point of the board games, that even if they are super complicated and multi-layered and have complicated mechanics, and there are different resources of different kinds interacting on different ways, that's not a problem for a student having a lot of fun from knowing the rules and playing accordingly to the rules. So now I'm going to head over to Kemi, sorry, attendees. I will stop sharing so Kenny. Oh, I think Kemi, now you can share your.
You can share. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Darius, for setting that stage for the scientific background for what we'll be talking about as well. So, as he mentioned, we actually tried to. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So, as he mentioned, the idea was to translate most of these complex concepts in
Sorry, Kemi. Just if you play the slideshow, because now
slideshow.
we
Okay.
see the whole screen, not just
Okay.
presentation.
Can you see it
Oh,
now?
yes, now it's great.
Okay, great. So as he mentioned, the idea was to translate, the scientific concepts from the complex complexity of numbers and to a more playful and gamified board game. And the idea that we developed was the sustainability race, a board game for sustainable, a board game on sustainable food choices. So I would just take you through the how we were able to distill the ideas into the board game and how probably in a scenario it can be useful for teachers to simplify this topic in their classroom. Um, so what is the sustainability race game? It's really a fun interactive board game for students around 12 plus. It encourages food choices through critical thinking and collaboration. And the idea is to help the player to aim to make better planet friendly nutritional food choices without depleting shared environmental resources. So sort of kind of modeling, habits, that are climate friendly in some way. And the focus areas that we chose in terms of the focus resources, carbon footprint, water use, and land use. Like I said, there are other elements to it, but just to simplify the concept as much as possible. And most of the mechanics was developed based off of as he mentioned, the handbook on the unit on sustainable food choices, and on page 95 to 102, which is really helpful, I think. And I think it's really important to probably even introduce the concepts in that handbook to the students before introducing the game. So there's a very good foundation for what they will be playing, and they're able to mirror, what they're learning in the game as well. So the learning objective of the game is to help them understand environmental impacts of food choices, practice decision making under restrained conditions, to promote individual responsibility and teamwork, and to also help them learn to balance nutrition with sustainability in some way. So what are the key materials within the game? First, they have a decision, ideally player number is ideally 2 players. Play time is about 40 to 60 minutes. And they have something we call 15, the food cards, 15 of them, which I have here. I don't know if you can see it. It introduces a scenario where they have to make a decision about a food choice. So, for example, on this card here, we see you're with your parents shopping at the local farmer's market. What do you buy? So they have 2 choices here, fresh vegetables, and they have maybe eggs from free range hens. And attached to these food choices, they have the nutritional values here, which is 50 calories, 5G protein, 5G, with some, they have some foods with nutritional values attached to them, basically, in terms of calories, in terms of calories, protein, and fiber. And they have the impact that they can see as well on the card, the direct impact of picking that food choice as well. And they can, based off of that, compare between the 2 of them and see which has lesser impact on the environment, and then make a decision accordingly. So I'm just right now introducing the materials. I'll still go on and talk about the mechanics. So now the food card presents, what I just wanted to understand for the food card is it presents a scenario and 2 options that the player has to make. And then you have the character tokens, which are like something like what I have on this picture here, which they use to move around the board. And they have resource tokens, which represents the resources they have. That is carbon, water, and the land resources. And they have 10 of these, 8 of the water, and 6 of the land. And the setup, first I want to, sorry, I was switching the slides. First, now I introducing you to the actual board here. Okay. I don't know why my screen is moving. Okay, yeah, so the game board in itself now is divided into 2 sections. The first section has the nutritional value of the food choice, their food choices, and an aspect on the environmental impact of the food choice. So as you can see, they have the nutritional value is kind of distilled into calories, proteins, and fiber. So the idea is you can still be healthy at the same time, you can try to balance your healthy nutrition choices with as well, the impact on the environment. I think that's the main logic for having a board organized this way. So at the center here, they place the food cards here in this box. And here they have the water. They have here a section to monitor their water use and water consumption, their land use, and the carbon footprint. So here they also keep moving. Here they place their character tokens, and they keep moving based off of the food choices. For calories, it's an increment of 100 calories, and for the proteins, it's on an increment of 5. Okay. And for the fiber is an increment of 5 as well, with the the highest being 25 grams for fiber, and the highest being 50 grams for proteins, and the highest being 150 calories for calories. So the setup. So like I said, it supports mostly two actually, because for 4 students, you might need to maybe increase the question cards and create more on your own. But ideally, it supports 2 students. And you place the cards first at the center of the board here, and the water tokens as well, the water land tokens and the carbon footprint tokens are also placed on the side of the board, because then they are literally, this is like the earth sort of, this environmental section. So the logic is they're adding, it's to help them calculate, how much of these resources they're either using up or adding. Now for carbon footprint, they're adding. So they have to add actually the tokens to the board. But for land and water, they have to take out of the board, just to model how these elements actually work in reality. So as I mentioned, each player places their character token at the starting point and nutritional value section. So at this section, they place their character tokens and start the game. Now, the mechanics. Basically, the game works by, they draw a food card. That is the card I showed earlier. The card presents a scenario, they choose a food option, and the player updates their progress on the board based off of the nutritional value and the water, carbon, or land resource that the food choice actually uses up. So, for example, I pick a card that uses up I pick a card that represents maybe 2 options. One option uses maybe 100 calories, and another option uses it's maybe 200 calories, another option 20 grams, another option 20 grams. So what I do is I move up 20 grams here, I move up 20 grams here, and I move up, say, 300 grams here. And maybe in terms of water use, land use, and carbon footprint, land use, maybe it uses up 4 tokens. I actually take out 4 tokens and put it on the side of the board. I take out maybe 4 tokens as well for land use and to put that side on the board. And then maybe it costs and adds, in terms of carbon footprint, another 4 tokens. Then I add the carbon footprint to the board. So that's just the simple mechanic based off of the card. And they keep picking up the cards and taking turns to move on the board. The idea is, the game is, the goal basically is that they reach this end of the board, which is 1,005 nutritional goals, actually 1,500 calories, 50 grams of protein, and 25 grams of fiber, while maintaining the environmental limits and not exhausting these carbon tokens. So that's the challenge actually that they have to make, and make smart decisions as they play the game. The winning conditions, basically, the winner wins when they reach all nutritional targets, or the highest in some cases, because sometimes they may not be able to meet everything, while they keep the environmental tokens above at least 0. So they don't literally exhaust these 10 tokens. If it's exhausted, they lose together actually, because then the tokens are that like the shared collective resource. So it's not just for one player, it's for everyone. So if they lose the tokens and they use it up, it's zero for everyone, kind of. So it also helps them to be collectively responsible as well. So it's also a shared goal. So they have a single winning goal and a shared collective loss as well, to also help them understand the collective loss as well for us on the earth, if we don't also collectively hold ourselves responsible in how we exhaust planetary resources. And yeah, shared responsibility, so that as well, they're able to learn values such as that as they play. At the end of the game, the teacher is also able to help students debrief on their actions in the game, so they can literally kind of reflect and connect their game decisions with the learning principles that we're trying to introduce to them. So they're also in the manual. There's also debriefing questions such as this as well, that they can debrief on after the class, after the game, or even in probably an essay or a presentation that they can do as well. So the key takeaways from the game is for the students is to help them understand that sustainable choices require trade-off. Environmental resources are limited and shared. Food decisions have real world impact, and working together helps protect the planet. So those are the key takeaways that we want the players to have at the end of playing the game. So that's pretty much it, actually. At the moment, we're currently refining and testing the game. And I think by the end of July, if I'm not mistaken, probably we're able to share the game, and then you can also put it to test as well in your classrooms and see how it works. Thank you very much. So if you have any questions, please go ahead. So I'll stop sharing now. We can't seem to hear you, Dariusz. You're muted.
Sorry. Yeah. So once again, thank you very much for the summary. And one like behind the scene is following that. You see, there is this obvious goal that players see, that yeah, you need to do this and this to win the game, but like, well, why we are doing this? For them to feel it, that you cannot, like in the exploitative capitalism, simply drain the resources, like internalize income and externalize the cost, because then, okay, you are good, but everyone else is hard, and that's the point, to make them act, not to lecture them, you should do this and this and this, but to make them feel that we shouldn't allow others to be exploitative for the environment. You see, like, even if the game is relatively simple as so we can play it within the one lesson period in the school, there is like quite powerful message behind it. Now, I saw you're asking on the chat, simply when it comes to board games, those numbers are important to make it simply playable. So we are now during the tests run by with teachers. We see simply that some numbers need to be corrected, because if the game ends in 5 minutes, or if there is any other problem like this, we simply need to look a bit into the mechanics. But yeah, in end of July, I expect it should be like released officially, so you can download the files and print on your own if you wish. So yeah, we are finalizing the tests. Now, let me just end with the last thing that we have for you for today. If you go to a chat, wait, I copied this and disappeared. I mean, you can go through this with me, or you can click it and go there on your own. But to address this problem, maybe feature, that the food choices are not just about the science, but about a lot of things connected to our life, we created this virtual gallery to spark a discussion about the food and food choices and the agriculture, not through scientific lens, but through artistic lens. So you can see how in different times food production I'm going to the second room. How it was displayed through the art in different times or in pop culture, and especially here you see that both pieces of art are about the meat, but you see that there is a completely different message behind that one and that one. So again, I'm showing this briefly to you. I encourage you to go through this gallery, get acquainted with those pieces of art, but you can imagine that this is something that can spark a discussion, not necessarily in the, let's say, physics or bio classroom, but for example in the art classroom as well. Okay, there is a part of science hidden somewhere, not to scare people. But yeah, this is one of the two virtual galleries that we made within this project. Okay. Now, now I see. Basically, yeah, that meeting is brief because again, it would be lovely simply to play this game. We not necessarily can do it online, but that's basically what we wanted to share with you so far. So now this would be a good time for your questions that I saw you had some. Uh, your if you wish, you can write them in Q&A or on the chat, or you can turn on camera and mic and simply let's have a short discussion. That's Kemi. No, that's Svetlana. Yeah. Yes, Svetlana.
Not
Hello.
sure. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, it's fine.
Oh, okay. First of all, thank you so much. I like this board game. It's something. I wanted to ask, will it be different in these games and cards, what I wrote in the chat, for people who are living in villages and people who are living in a big city? Because from my experience, it is difference of goods that they can, and food and quality of food that they can like purchase. Yes.
It's very interesting question. Darius, do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, really, the question is, what's in your card deck? So we made it general, but again, the choices that you are facing are like, you know, you're invited to barbecue, and are you going, or are you doing this, or are you doing this? And they are general, so we can imagine that as well, people in the cities or in the countryside can face similar ones. Because again, it's, you know, are you going to do a salad or are you going to order pizza or whatever. But what's I think important is that if you add more cards, then the mechanics stays the same, but you can now invent your own deck as long as you put the numbers that are rational. So if when we share the instruction how we got our numbers, then I hope you can reproduce the process and then make your own set. And this would be lovely to observe how, for example, people in different countries, or simply give it this task to students, for them to add additional cards, and how should they look like. So yeah, the game is not closed, and it's supposed to be you know being upgraded with the people playing. And maybe one thing that I would like to add is that we were struggling between saying everything that is important and having in mind that we have 40 minutes. So because of that, we get rid of the most of the ideas that we had. But again, if you like the game and then you want to play at home, for example, and you have 5 hours, then always there is a option to complicate. And in the board that Kemi showed, that there was this idea that you have a number of, for example, tokens that you cannot exceed, or you cannot go to zero. Now you can imagine that we have additional like action card, like event card. So for example, the regulation changes, or something changes, and now those limits can change as well, if this is what you want to do in your more complicated version. So yeah, we offer like the base with some ideas, and then you can build on it as you wish. Okay, any other question? I see that Renata asked questions on chat, but we already answered them. That yes, it will be, and yes, in around July. We'll send you email when it's done. So, okay, I don't see any other questions. So, in this case, thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you next Monday when our colleagues from Greece are going to display the topic about energy production. So there will be, it will be more technical, and there will be a project about the sun energy and wind energy. And they already told me that that one is going to be very interactive. So they are up to something. We'll see what they are preparing for you. So hopefully see you next Monday. And now for
Thank you
today,
very much.
yeah, thank you very much,
Thank you
and
very
yeah,
much.
have a nice evening. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, that was great.